Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Ashmit Kumar, and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Sensex Nifty end in the green despite mixed global and domestic cues. Mid-caps outperform the blue chips. Rupee weakens against the dollar, moving closer to record lows. Adani Group says that Gautam Adani and two other executives have only been charged on 3 counts related to securities and wire fraud conspiracy and not under the US Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Group stocks bounce back in trade. The Adani bribery case rocks Parliament for the second day in a row. Both houses adjourned without transacting any significant business. Rajya Sabha chairperson rejects as many as 18 adjournment motions related to the Adani indictment, Sambhal violence and the Manipur crisis. The 60-day ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah comes into effect after Netanyahu's cabinet endorses the deal. The agreement mandates Israel to withdraw from southern Lebanon completely. US President Biden says the ceasefire is designed to lead to a permanent cessation of hostilities. Hundreds of displaced southern Lebanon residents head back home. NTPC Green Energy lists at a small premium, but shares rally in trade, gaining 12% on the first day. Management tells CNBC-TV18 it is on track to meet the big capex targets. The Union Cabinet informs the Parliament that Indian Airlines received close to 1,000 hoax bomb threats in 2024 so far. This includes around 680 in the last 3 months alone. Close to 30% of these hoax threats were directed at Indigo, followed by Air India and erstwhile Vistara. Honda enters the electric scooter race in India, unveils the electric version of its flagship Activa brand, a market leader in the scooter space. Also launches the QC1 model. Bookings will begin from the 1st of January next year, with deliveries taking place from February. Softbank founder Masayoshi Son is in India meeting executives of his portfolio companies, including Ola's Bhavesh Agarwal and other business leaders. Sources say Son is likely to also meet Prime Minister Modi. Australia moves a step closer to becoming the first country in the world to ban social media for children under 16 years of age. The lower house of Australian Parliament passes this legislation, which will now head to the Senate. Well, let's begin with a quick look at the day's trading action. The Sensex gained over 230 points and the Nifty gained 80 points after a steady session on the Lal Street. Nifty, meanwhile, moved closer to the 24,300 mark, hitting its highest level in the last 3 weeks. Mid-caps, meanwhile, outperformed the blue chips. Prashant Nair is joining us now with a quick wrap of all the day's trading action. Prashant.
Well, a decent day, but not quite at the day's high by close. That was a day that we tracked. I mean, actually 12 o'clock or so, 12 noon was the low point of the day. The market took off and it did not really look back, although, as I said, did give up a little bit towards the last 30-40 minutes of trade. Nifty Bank will come up on your screen as well. There was some give back from the day's high. Although broader markets have done very well. Over 0.5% plus gains on the mid-cap index and about 1 1/3% gain on the small-cap space. So broader markets, I think, is where bulk of the action was. Now, I'll start with the large caps. So Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, for that complex, it was a broadly positive up and up kind of a session. Again, here the move started at about 11 o'clock or so, a little after that. Trent, NTPC and BEL were some of the other names which participated. These are all large, nifty names. NTPC Green was, of course, the big listing of the day. And what a listing it's had. 10% plus gains by close on day one for NTPC Green. Now, in the broader markets, the ex-Nifty stocks from the Adani pack, so Adani Power, Green, Adani Energy Solutions were big movers. Actually, some of them will limit up on the day. The recent listings, look at Ola Electric, of course, has gotten completely smashed up, but big circuit move today. Swiggy was another strong gainer, and Sagility is a recent listing, 10 days old in the market, and that also did well. Defense as a pack has been coming up. You've got Mazgaon, Garden Reach, Bharat Dynamics, which did very well. You look at names like EIL. I mentioned Bharat Electronic earlier. Ircon is another name. So it's a combination of PSU/defense, which continues to participate on the upside. Aster DM was a big mover. There was KEI Industries and something like a Tube Investments which participated as well. I'm limiting myself with the names here. There are others, but these are the biggest volume-led gainers. On the downside, you had ZF India, where there was, of course, the stake sale. Stock was under pressure. Prestige was lower. There was Afcon's Infra, had a big up move yesterday, saw some profit booking in terms of trade. Remember, the dollar index was supportive through the Asian trade and Europe as well. It was down about 0.4%, which is meaningful. And I think that remains the number one thing to track from global markets, apart from, of course, if there are any new tweets, which markets will have to deal from President-elect Trump. Otherwise, a decent close all told, especially from a broader market perspective. Back to you.
Right, Prashant, thanks a lot for that. Now, from the stock markets to the money market, Indian rupee weakened against the dollar by over 12 paisa in a trade today. The rupee has now moved closer to record low levels, erasing the gains made in the last couple of sessions. India's 10-year sovereign bond also gained in trade today. Well, here's the big international news. A 60-day ceasefire deal has come into effect between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. This is a major breakthrough in the 14-month war. As per the truce brokered by United States and France, Israel will withdraw its troops from southern Lebanon border. People in Lebanon were seen celebrating across the country. Lebanon army also said that it was preparing to deploy to the southern border of the country. In a statement, the Lebanon army urged residents of border villages to delay returning home until the Israeli military withdraws completely. However, thousands of cars carrying displaced persons were seen heading towards the south. The Lebanese government said that the war has displaced more than 1.2 million people in the country. More than 3,800 people have been killed and over 15,800 people have been wounded in Israeli attacks in Lebanon since the war began last year.
A ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah took effect early Wednesday. The news was announced by U.S. President Joe Biden the previous day, speaking after both sides accepted an agreement brokered by the U.S. and France.
This is designed to be a permanent cessation of hostilities. What is left of Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations will not be allowed, I emphasize, will not be allowed to threaten the security of Israel again.
Biden spoke shortly after Israel's security cabinet approved the agreement in a 10-to-1 vote. He also said there would be a drawdown period of 60 days, where Israel would gradually withdraw its forces as Lebanon's army takes control of its territory near the border, which Biden said would ensure Hezbollah does not rebuild infrastructure there.
Civilians on both sides will soon be able to safely return to their communities.
Lebanon's foreign minister said earlier in the day that their army would have 5,000 troops deployed as Israeli forces withdrew. Netanyahu had also said in an earlier address that the ceasefire would allow Israel to focus on the threat from Iran, replenish depleted arms supplies, and give the army a rest.
Tonight I introduced to the Cabinet a ceasefire proposal for Lebanon. The duration of the ceasefire depends on what happens in Lebanon. In full coordination with the United States, we retain complete military freedom of action. Should Hezbollah violate the agreement or attempt to rearm, we will strike decisively. If it tries to rebuild its fortifications along the border, we will strike. If it launches a rocket, digs a tunnel, brings in a truck with missiles, we will strike.
He also said the ceasefire would allow Israel to isolate Hamas, which Israel is battling in devastated Gaza. There was no indication the truce would help deliver a ceasefire or hostage release deal with Hamas. Biden leaves office in January. However, he said his administration would continue to push for a Gaza truce after the Israel-Lebanon deal, and for an agreement to normalize relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel.
Well, meanwhile, Israel continues to deepen its offensive in Gaza. Forces have killed dozens in the region, including 13 displaced persons who were seeking shelter in a school. As per Hamas-run health ministry, more than 44,000 people have been killed in Gaza since the start of this conflict in October of 2023. From one war-torn region to another, Ukraine has said that its capital, Kyiv, continues to face sustained Russian drone attacks that began on Monday. Ukrainian officials have said that a Russian missile attack on the northeastern city of Kharkiv injured at least 23 people and damaged more than 40 buildings. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry has said that its forces had shot down 8 ballistic missiles and 22 drones fired by Ukraine in the last 24 hours. Well, oil prices steady today as geopolitical tensions and upcoming OPEC Plus discussions drove market uncertainty. Investors are assessing the potential impact of a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Meanwhile, OPEC Plus is considering the delay of a planned output hike due to sluggish global demand and increased supply from outside the group. Now back home, Adani Green informed Indian stock exchanges that Gautam Adani and Sagar Adani are facing charges of violating US securities law and not the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act or the FCPA. Adani Group share recovered in trade today. The group has lost nearly 3 lakh crore rupees in market capitalization since the US indictment. Today's rally helped the conglomerate recover more than 1.2 lakh crore rupees in market cap. Last week, US authorities indicted Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani and others of being part of a bribery scheme worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. Adani Group has denied the allegations, calling it baseless, and said it will seek legal recourse.
I have gone through this indictment by the US court running into some 54 pages. My assessment is, and it is clear, that there are 5 charges or 5 counts. It is very important to note that count 1 and count 5 are more important than the others, but in neither in count 1 nor in count 5 is Mr. Adani or his nephew charged.
Now, more companies are likely to file claims for PLI disbursements after collating their quarterly figures till December. Government sources have told CNBC-TV18 that lower disbursements till now have not been a concern and are expected to pick up in the coming months. The current financial year's disbursement under PLI schemes has been less than 1,000 crore rupees as compared to the 10,000 crore rupees paid by the government in the same period. Now, India has pitched for duty cuts and lower non-tariff barriers under the proposed trade deal with the European Union. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the EU has sought deep reduction in import duties in India in return. Abhimanyu is joining us now with more details. Abhimanyu, tell us more about this India and the EU FTA. What are the demands?
It's a usual give and take between two sides for a free trade agreement which is currently being negotiated between India and the European Union. India has sought lowering of import duties on Indian products and also removal of non-tariff barriers to make Indian products being exported to Europe more competitive in the European market. India has also sought an increased access in terms of visas for its working professionals to bridge the skilling gap between the demand in the European Union and the lower supply which is currently being bridged from several countries, including India. Apart from the arguments being made by India, there's an argument which has been supported by both the sides, and that is the fact that both the sides are reluctant to open areas like dairy and agriculture due to sensitivities on both the sides. On the other hand, Europe has sought increased access for its products with India, and importantly, it has said that the current FTA which exists with the European Free Trade Association should not be considered as a template for any future FTA between India and the European Union, which clearly means that the European Union is seeking bigger import duty cuts. As far as India's current offer is concerned, it remains to be seen how the situation is going to pan out in near future, since India has already objected to European initiatives like the deforestation regulation and the carbon tax.
Right, Abhimanyu, thanks a lot for that. And with that, we slip into a very short break. But coming up, Australia moves a step closer to becoming the first country in the world to ban social media for children under 16 years of age. More details when we come back. Welcome back. In the auto space, Mahindra & Mahindra has unveiled its much-anticipated electric car under its sub-brands BE and XEV. The prices of the new launches will range between 19 to 22 lakh rupees. The models will be available in the market from January 2025 and deliveries will commence around February and March of next year. Parishat Luthra caught up with Rajesh Jejurikar, Executive Director at Mahindra, on the company's latest offerings.
We've launched the entry, what we call the Pack 1 of the BO5 at an ex-showroom of below 19 lakhs, which is going to open up a huge segment, because when you look at UV1, UV2, UV3, we have quite a substantial volume per month, almost like 18 plus 23,000 in the two, at a price point of between 20 lakhs and 30 lakhs on road. And we're really going to play in that segment.
And staying with new auto launches, Honda has finally forayed into the electric two-wheeler space with its new electric Active E, and QC1 bookings will commence on the 1st of January next year, and deliveries are expected to begin in February. Speaking to Ritu Singh, Honda executives said that Honda Activa electric models are solely focused for the Indian market. They said that the company has an aggressive EV plan for the India market, highlighting that Honda plans to have a global portfolio of 30 EV models by 2030.
Okay, this for example, this swapping battery is, for example, sales area is limited, and also a subscript model. So this is the first try in India. So we would like to know response from customers. I would like most important of country, one of country is in India. So we will launch many electric vehicle, but basically global, mainly global model means not only focusing in India, whole worldwide.
Yeah.
Indian market is quite a big market, right? So currently we are looking at close to around 20 million kind of a market. It will be there in this particular fiscal year. We have 30 model globally by 2030.
In India?
In India, some of them will definitely be part of that Indian market as well. So depending upon the response which we'll be getting for both these models, we'll tweak our lineup. So we are very excited to see in terms of what is the kind of responses. And basis on that, we will continue to tweak till 2030.
So the government has unveiled the PAN 2.0 project, which aims to simplify the taxpayers' burden. The new PAN 2.0 will feature a slew of new upgrades, including enhanced cybersecurity and a QR code feature. Shivani Bajaj joins us now with the details. Shivani, the Income Tax Department released a list of frequently asked questions on the government's new project. Take us through the key details.
Well, the government has introduced PAN 2.0, a major update aimed at simplifying tax services and integrating various processes under one roof. Let's first understand what PAN 2.0 is all about. It's a revamped version of the existing permanent account number system designed to combine services like PAN, TAN and TIN on a single portal. This means you'll no longer need to navigate multiple websites for tasks like applying for a PAN, making corrections or even linking it to the Aadhaar. The entire process will now be paperless and much faster. Everything from applying to updating a PAN details to validating your PAN can be done online now. Existing PAN card holders don't need to reapply for a new PAN, but if you want, you can upgrade to a new card with added features like a QR code. For businesses, PAN will now also act as a common identifier across specified government systems, cutting down redundancy. This system promises quicker processing time, better accuracy, and robust security for your data. It also makes updating your information free and simple. If you need physical PAN cards, that's available too for a very small fee. Finally, all services from grievances to reprints to corrections will be streamlined through one unified portal, reducing delays and confusion. In short, PAN 2.0 is aimed to make managing your tax-related needs easier, faster, and much more user-friendly. Back to you.
Right, Shivani, thanks a lot for that. Now, caretaker Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has said that he won't be a roadblock to the government formation in the state of Maharashtra. Addressing a press conference earlier, Shinde said that he will accept the BJP leadership's decision on who the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra should be. Both the BJP and the Shiv Sena are pitching for the CM seat after they, along with Ajit Pawar's NCP, registered a landslide victory in the assembly elections. The BJP had won 132 seats on its own, more than double the Sena tally. Despite this, Shiv Sena sources told Network 18 that Eknath Shinde would become the next Chief Minister, as he was the face of
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से भी बात की, उनको भी कहा
हमारी तरफ से कोई अड़चन नहीं है, आप निर्णय ले लो जैसे आपके भारतीय जनता पार्टी को। हम भी महायुति के कौन लीडर, एनडीए के लीडर सरकार बनाने में हमारी तरफ से कोई भी रुकावट, कोई भी अड़चन, कोई भी कुछ भी किसी भी तरह का अड़न।
Lower house passed a bill that will ban social media for children under the age of 16, and Meta have urged the Australian government to delay the ban to assess its potential impact. Shireen Bhan on the legislation in Australia and the effect social media has on children. You can catch
different Snapchat is, and that's been supported by the data and independent research just out this year, actually from.
And with that, it's